So welcome, Jillian. Welcome to Rawlicious, my channel. And I'm so honored for you to come on. I know you're so busy, you're interviewing so many incredible people, but you're one of those. And that is why I wanted you on this channel to share your story, share even just your growth on YouTube, how many people you're inspiring. You've just annihilated this space of interviews on raw vegans, and it's given us that comfort and appreciation of that there are more raw vegans. There's more people that think very similar to ourselves, not feeling so alone. And so thank you for opening and creating this not only a safe space for people, but giving the information that we so desperately need to show us, this path of that we can thrive on a raw vegan diet, and even more, like not just high raw, but when we can transition to a fully raw vegan diet, how it can change so many lives and how many people it is changing. So I really appreciate you being on, Jillian, and thank you for having this time with me. Just share like how you got into raw veganism and how it's changed, or has it changed for you, changed your whole life?
Yeah. Oh, it's been the best thing to ever happen to me other than having my children, my two girls. It has been the most life-changing thing. Like there was life like before I went raw, and then like the day I went raw, September 1st, 2016, was literally a new life. Like the first day I went raw, I still remember it. I never felt so good in my entire life. And I thought like, wow, how did I not know about this before? I had tried every type of lifestyle. And how my journey first started was when my first daughter, May, was born almost 10 years ago. After her birth, I ran into a number of health problems. And then it's easy just to think like you're worn out because you're a new mom and things like that. And some of the doctors thought that, which I don't blame them, but there were a lot more problems going on. Like I had bad digestion. Many times I was like super constipated, or my bowels, like, sorry to give too much information, they weren't like formed ever. It was like diarrhea. I even had blood in my stool. It got to the point where there was blood in my stool. And I had headaches, I had chronic fatigue. Like I would even be tired when I walked up the stairs and feel like I needed naps in the day. And I was thinking like, this isn't normal, right? And I was having a lot of panic attacks too. Like I was getting really, like really stressed, and like deep panic attacks that would send me to the hospital. And I had hypoglycemia too. My blood sugars were a mess. So if I didn't eat and things like that, sometimes I fainted and I would go in an ambulance to the hospital. There was just like a whole array of health problems. But the main thing was, well, the panic attacks, they were all bad. I had bad skin on my back and my chest, but the digestive issues were the worst. And then, like for me at least, and I think for many people, when you're backed up and you're constipated and you're having these digestive issues, there's just a huge connection between the gut and the brain too. So like I would get super moody if I was like constipated too.
Yeah.
So I went on this path of trying these different diets because my friend here in Toronto, Laura, she was like, these problems first started, she's like, I think you have candida, try this diet. So that's when I started getting into juicing and getting into like these different things. And at one point, I tried the blood type O diet too, which I talk about on my channel because my blood type is O, and they say it's one of the oldest blood types. So your body would thrive on a high meat diet. So before I went raw vegan, like I was eating like a high meat diet for a while too. Like my friends would come
Wow.
over and it would be like a big plate of meat for dinner, and they wouldn't know what to expect with me because I was like always going through these different phases. One week they would come over, it'd be one thing. The next week it'd be like a huge plate of steak for dinner.
Wow.
And I was like,
Different
this is what
diets,
will
just
work.
yo-yoing, just to try and find what works.
Yeah. And I was like, this is what will work. This is healing. And like, I was absolutely not thriving, but I gave it a good go because I read that book, like the blood type diet or whatever, but
Yeah.
it wasn't for me. And if that works for people, great. I'm also like not super dogmatic about it or not judgmental about it. I think everybody has to do what works for them. And this just definitely works for me. So the one night I was reading a book about the living foods, and it was by Dr. Sebi, I believe.
Mm.
And I'd never even considered or thought about this through all these years, through my whole life. And I guess I'm about to be 40 on August 23rd. So I guess I was 34 when I started this, and I never heard about raw. So I went raw. I was like, tomorrow I'm going to try this all raw. I'm not going to cook my food. I was like, this makes total sense. Where has this knowledge been my whole life? It's like so simple, right? So I ate all raw that whole day. And I never felt better in my entire life. Like, I swear to you, I swear to God, I never felt better in my entire life. Even my husband was like, whoa, like I can just see, like I was so much more alive. You eat the living foods and you're so much more alive.
Makes
So I
sense.
just like came to life, and I was like, wow, like literally I had never felt that feeling before. It's like I'd felt like my true self for the first time in my life. and just this higher connection, this high vibe, this happiness. And I had already given up coffee and alcohol. They were a big part of my life in my 20s and my early 30s as well. But I can't remember when, but it was at least a few months before going raw. I'd already quit
Oh wow.
coffee completely, and alcohol was just now and then at that point if my husband and I went on a date night to the club or something. But so when I started raw, I didn't have to like, I wasn't addicted to anything. I think for people, if they first start raw, and then they give up like coffee or alcohol or like things they might be addicted to, then they might not feel as good like I did the first day. So then I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like, Jillian's on YouTube saying she felt so good. I tried it. I feel like a bag of crap. But if you have to keep in mind, if like you're addicted to things too, it's gonna take time to detox through those things. I would not have felt good right away if I like still had those things in me.
Yeah.
But I've been hooked ever since. Like it makes me feel incredible. There have been times over the years where I have like tried dabbling. Like in the first couple years, I tried now and then, let me try some eggs, let me try some salmon or something. And every time I just, I get like congested in my sinuses. I like lose the high vibe feeling I have. I don't feel as energetic. My digestion is a mess. I feel so dehydrated. So it doesn't seem like I understand people say, well, there's some nutrients in animal products, stuff like that. But to me, just the negatives and the negative effects it has on my body, it's not worth it. And also, I've developed such a more compassionate attitude as a raw vegan now. I didn't go into this. Like I went into this just trying to find the right diet and the right how to feel my best. But I've developed a more compassionate attitude now towards the animals as well, too. So I don't look at the animal products and think like I want to eat that now. And I never look at an animal like Eli, my friend posted a video about some roadkill. Like I never look at an animal dead or alive and think like, I want to eat that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just totally works for me. And that's where I'm at. It's totally changed my life.
What an awareness you've got there. Like a lot of people say some don't have that and make that connection so quickly, especially like you said, when they've got the addictions and they're getting over.
Mm-hmm.
You've done things gradually, and sometimes that is necessary, isn't it? It depends on
Mm-hmm.
your journey, what you're exposed to, and some go through the raw vegan first, and still, there's smokers or those that drink alcohol. But generally, I see the trans. I was the same. I dropped alcohol. I never was into coffee. Luckily, I never found the taste nice. I'm so glad I never. But alcohol, I dropped 12 years ago. Then with vegan 10, and it was 2.5.
Wow.
It's
You
10.
haven't had a drink in 12 years?
No, nothing.
Wow, amazing. And do you feel
Yeah,
like your life is a lot better without the alcohol?
that I would say was my spiritual journey started through dropping that. It was a progression, but yeah, I was always curious, why didn't I start like you? Why didn't I start raw vegan eating this way years ago? Like I would have cut out that 10 years because there were still times like say eating. I've been vegan for over 12 or 10, about 10 to 12. It started 12 years ago, but it was on and off for 10. But why didn't I why did I eat the gourmet heavy foods? But it's part of my journey, my story. But
Yeah.
you found out like you've gone through all that pain, but to find those answers, and I feel like everyone needs to go through that trying every single diet. Did you have any sort of feeling? So that was six, so you're saying 10 years ago when you had your first child.
Yeah. And then I got the health problems. And then 6 years ago, I went raw.
Before that, though, before the 10 years, was you having any issues before, any challenges? Or was you?
Yeah, so I was, and I wasn't feeling like amazing, but I never really knew that you could feel this good. Like I didn't
Yeah,
know that you could feel this good. So like to me, feeling good would be like I'd get a high when I would drink alcohol, right? Or like get a runner's high or drink my coffee. Like that would be like I was chasing those things. I didn't know you could like feel better than that naturally. But I did have bad acne, really bad on my back and my chest. And actually, my husband at the time, we had an HGTV series that we got in like 2009 before my daughter was born. And somebody sent it to me the other day. Somebody put these like videos on YouTube. It's like I was like a different person. If you go watch them, like and see how I was when I used to eat the standard American diet. And in some of the videos, you can see my skin was really bad on my back and my chest. I remember they were doing an episode where we went to like the spa for one of the episodes. And I remember I was just like so self-conscious because I was like, oh no, they're filming me and my back is like covered in acne. So like I had skin problems and depression, like really bad depression, but mainly the skin problems I think were the biggest and just not the energy like I have now. I didn't realize like that you could have this type of energy. Yeah.
naturally as
Yeah.
well, without the stimulants.
And the blood sugar problem. So the blood sugar problem started when I was about 14 years old. in high school, I was doing a presentation. I didn't have breakfast and then I fainted in the presentation. It was so
Really?
embarrassing. They're like, what's going on? And then I fainted again after that. I went to the hospital and they tested me. They were like, you have hypoglycemia, your blood sugars are like a mess. So my blood sugars were just a mess too, like my whole life. Well, since around the teenage years. And being raw, like my blood sugars are totally leveled out. And I actually eat a pretty high fruit. I'm not fruitarian. I eat like everything, but I
Yeah.
do eat a lot of fruit. And I tested all my blood sugars recently and everything was perfect, like the fasting blood sugars. And you can tell by how you feel, right? I used to
Yeah.
feel like, if you don't have food in you, I would feel like, oh,
Shaky.
yeah, like I don't get that at all now.
Wow. I want to touch on that in a moment, but when you was back at school, did you feel there was did you have any feeling of what was wrong with me? Like what do you think there was the cause? Do you feel it was the diet or did you have any
Yeah, I
idea?
wish I knew. Definitely 100%. My issues in school and high school and stuff were the diet. That's why sometimes I think, oh, I wish I could go to a school and speak. Because
Yeah.
if just one person could hear and like start eating raw at that age, oh my gosh, it would have totally changed my high school years. I had
Wow.
so much anxiety in high school and it was 100% the foods. I had so much anxiety.
Yeah.
And like, even in class, if they were like, I would never want them to call my name, or like I had so much anxiety, like to another level. And I just felt like crap. I felt unattractive. Like that's another thing. Going raw just makes me naturally feel so much more attractive.
Yes.
And just like the diet just made me feel like gross. Like it's hard to explain. Like I just felt gross and my vibration was just so low. And my skin was a mess. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if I had had a different diet back then, my teens and 20s would have been completely different. Who knows where I'd be today at 40? You know what I mean?
I know. And it's we don't make that connection until we're in this desperation. I know some come into it for inspiration, but most I would say coming out of the desperation. If we can get there before those, that's what we're trying to share. Try
Yeah.
to try it, see how you feel. And I know there is a transition for many, but if you lean into it, if you give it enough time, you're gonna reap the rewards like you have. And you was very
Hmm.
quick at noticing that difference. Incredible. And have you had any in between that? Like, I know you said you tried a few animal products, and
Yeah.
I think it is helpful to do that. It reinforces why you are raw. It
Yeah.
really does reinforce that. But did you have any times where you did doubt that or was it straight away you found that
No.
this is the wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
I've always known like this is the way. And I think also because I have tried things over the years and then every time I've seen, oh wow, like I feel so much worse. So I'm like
Yeah,
every time I've been like whether it's been like having some animal products or even having like a sweet potato. I love sweet potato and I'm not like judging anybody who eats like that. If it makes you feel good, then absolutely do it. If I felt great eating sweet potatoes and drinking coffee, I would do it, but I don't.
yeah,
So anytime, even the sweet potato, like I said, or a coffee or like anything, it's just like anything cooked. It's just, I don't, so I'm like, anytime I've done it, I've been like, why did I just do that? Because now I
yeah,
just want to feel how I felt raw again. But sometimes it takes that because then you really realize how good you feel. Sometimes you forget how good you feel and it takes like not feeling good to realize how good you feel again.
yeah.
So it's okay.
It really does. It reinforces it, and it don't stress too much when you do it, because, like I say,
Yeah.
it's part of the journey. It's part of those lessons. Did you
Yeah.
ever? So you have the? Did you ever have extreme cravings? And how did you overcome the cravings when you did go?
No, not really. I mean, when I first went raw, there were a few times, I guess, where I still craved a little bit of pasta because I was so used to eating pasta. So now and then I would try pasta. And then again, I wouldn't feel so great, but not really. I didn't deal with too many cravings because I just felt so good. So I was like, wow. And then just the more raw I would eat, the more I would want more raw and fall in love with the lifestyle. And just even now I get so excited. I go to the farmer's market and like I just look at the food. I'm like, it's so beautiful. Look at this kale. I think I'm the only one who does that there. But like you fall in love with the foods the more you eat and the more you fill your gut microbiome with those foods, like the more you just want those foods.
Yeah, that just comes naturally, and yeah, the appreciation. You seem to have a lot of appreciation for food. Are your children raw? Are they raw vegan?
No, they're not
Oh,
raw. No, they're not raw. Yeah.
yeah. So you cook separately for them then? You
Yeah,
cook.
I do. I cook for my family and my husband. We're back together now. I've talked about our separation on the channel, but we've reconciled and he's not raw either. So I cook for them.
Wow. And
Yeah.
how,
And I
and
don't crave their foods at all. People are like, I don't know how you do it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm never tempted to eat their foods ever. like
Wow.
literally ever. And I think it's just, I think it's important if people are that I think dinner time is where people struggle. So maybe
Yeah.
at dinner, like keep a higher vibe, drink a green juice or something
Yeah.
that's going to give you like an extra vibe, put on music you love, maybe work out before you're doing dinner, like do things that make you feel good.
Yeah.
And Mimi Kirk, I've interviewed her a couple times. She had a
Yeah.
good point. She always says like prepare your food first before you make their food so you know it's like ready. So I think that's
Yeah.
a good tip. But also just the longer you do it, I know it can be intimidating if you're just first starting and you're in the early stages and you still have those cravings. But the longer you do it, those cravings do go away a lot and it does get like so much easier. And you can get to a point where you can prepare your family's food and not
Yeah.
even want to eat it because I'm in that position. So other people can be as well.
So when you went raw, did you want to share quite straight away your journey? Like your like, look what I found, I want to help others. Or what or where did your journey of sharing start? Did it start from the beginning
Yeah.
where you was
Yeah, I
helping?
did. I think because I just felt so good and people around me noticed that I felt so good. So they were like, what are you doing? And they were just naturally interested in what I was doing. And I did want to share. And I've just always been someone who's just naturally want to share people's messages. So even back then, like on Instagram, I was sharing a lot about it and stuff like that. And there was a point, I guess in the first year I was raw or into my second year, I wrote a kid's book because I was just like, this is amazing. I want to make a book about like healthy foods. And it wasn't like a raw vegan or vegan book. It was just like Princess Papaya's ABCs of happy foods. And it teaches them about like real foods, right? Like avocado, papaya, and how happy you feel when you eat these.
Yeah.
So even I went to my daughter's school and I read the book. I guess this was like 2018. And like I was so surprised so many kids didn't even recognize a
Oh,
cantaloupe. I
I
was like,
know.
what? So like
Yeah.
that's when I realized too, like I want to share more. And then my husband got me like a camera or got, yeah, a camera and some lights. And I tried to do like YouTube videos, but I was like, this is just so awkward. I was just judging myself so much. And I was like, this is just, I tried like 3 times and I was like, no, we're not doing this. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I had a second baby. We sold everything. We moved to Costa Rica. We ended up
Oh wow.
separating. Yeah, we ended up separating. We came back. My life was a disaster. And then I was like, you know what? I was doing real estate. I still do real estate too.
Yeah.
But and I met this guy and I was like, oh, because I was starting to think I want to try YouTube again, you know, because after the divorce, I'd done some cleanses and I was still on raw. And I was just like, you know what? I was starting to have like a desire to start YouTube again. And I met this guy. I was like, perfect destiny. He's because I am not a techie. I didn't know how to film or edit. And he was doing something for me for a real estate listing. And he's like, I can give you a good rate and help you start out and like do some videos at a good price for you if you want. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So then I started and it's been the biggest blessing because like it was a terrible situation, like the separation and the everything with my family and moving and all just so much chaos in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I think just maybe I needed that, like, because things were a mess. Like things happened I didn't even talk about on my channel. It was a bad couple years. And I think just sometimes the universe, God was just like shifting me to like get me to like get into my purpose and stuff. So it's great. Now I love sharing on my channel and like interviewing other people, sharing their stories as well.
Yeah, it really does. Sometimes these heart, these painful what happens is it does teach us. We look back at the lessons, but at the time we're just like, why is this
Yeah, we're
happening?
like, what? Stop this. What is going on? You know?
Wow,
Yeah.
what made you move to Costa Rica? And how long was you in Costa Rica for?
So we were there for almost a year.
Wow.
And we sold everything in Toronto. I had like my dream
Ro-
house, everything. I was like, I don't know. You know what? I didn't really want to do it for a while. My husband was like talking about it for a long time. And then sometimes I would think, yeah, it'd be nice. I'd fantasize about it and think, okay, it would be nice. And he'd be like, you're raw. I think you'll love it there. Like he was burnt out by the corporate life. He was always traveling. So he was gone like 3 weeks of the month. We were barely seeing each other and our marriage was kind of falling apart. It's really hard when it's like long distance for the long term and
Yeah.
you're never together. So that's why. And I was just like, we love the natural life, like the sun, the ocean, the
Yeah.
foods. And then we were just like, okay, let's do it and we'll figure out our path there. And then, yeah, we were there for about a year. It was amazing there, though. It
I,
was nice.
it's somewhere I really want. I was supposed to move there in 2020 before all that happened.
Oh, wow.
And then things change, university. Yeah, it's interesting. Every year I was always thinking of going. Then I finally got my flight booked and it didn't
Yeah.
happen. Oh, but the food's
Oh,
there, the tropics there. So you settled in Toronto? You would never want to go move abroad, or you're happy? Is that your base?
yeah. So we're back in Toronto now. I think we'll stay here now. For a period of time, I was thinking it'd be nice to move to the States. My husband works in the States a lot too. He still travels, but I think we'll stay here. I mean, it feels like home here. So I
Yeah.
think over the next year or so, we'll buy a home or buy a condo and get settled here and then travel.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to be in the tropics, but just my channel means so much to me now and I love doing it. And sometimes when I do interviews with people in the tropics, depending where they are, sometimes the Wi-Fi is just like
Yeah.
not good. And I'll do the video and it'll be such a good video. And then the Wi-Fi after I look at it and I was like, oh, it's bad. Or you can see. So I don't think like with the goals I have with where I want to take the channel with the interviews and with everything too, I think it's better that I mean, maybe the internet connection is better in the tropics. I don't know
Yeah,
than
at the,
it
I've
was.
been all right. Touch wood, it's so good. It's been all right.
Yeah.
That's where you
But
are.
here is good. I have a lot of opportunity here. It feels like home. So, but I
Yeah.
love the sun. And I think we are tropical creatures, I do think. And I think the tropics is the best and amazing if you can live in the tropics.
But you know what's great is that you're relatable because there's a lot of people concerned about being, especially for me. That's why I didn't go raw, fully raw. I was in England,
Wow.
I was struggling, but I also felt it was at the time extreme. I was like, no, I'm happy being high raw, and I was doing the raw till dinner, and and some days I would be fully raw, but 5 days out of the week would be raw till dinner time. And that worked
Yeah.
for me for 6 years. And I did enjoy that. And it was not until
Wow.
I came to the tropics where I was just like, I've got no excuse really. And because I knew how good I was feeling, imagine cutting out and the more raw days I was having, you start to see the difference and you feel good, and then, like I say, some people in their diet, they feel quite good. But when they actually try this, they can see the next level of what's possible. And just so, like you said, with all those benefits that you received, it's,
And
yeah,
if you have anything cooked now, like if you have anything cooked, do you notice a difference in how you feel?
my mental health mostly. Even, yeah, my gut, I'm super sensitive now, but my mental health
Hmm.
goes, I feel like I go back to how I used to. It reminds me, it really does bring all those memories and emotions, how I felt, and back to that like depression, the cloud, even just a little bit of cooked. I
It's so
really do.
crazy.
It
Yeah.
is. I really
It's
do
really
think,
like it makes you realize like you really are what you eat, it's really crazy.
yeah, you really are, because the difference, and as you go on this path, that you are more sensitive, and my spiritual practice is really important to me. And if I'm eating heavy, I question it allows me to question why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why do I'm craving heavier,
Hmm.
denser foods? I want grounding. Then just go outside. I step into nature barefoot. I take rest. So instead of, I think because we're in such a fast-paced life, I found it's because I need to slow down and I don't need to use food. So I'm really big on sharing, stopping that emotional
Yeah. I think
binge
I
eating.
think when you're off balance, like, when
Yeah.
you're off balance or you're not getting proper sleep and you're just off balance or like worn out, then I think it's easy to like crave the old lifestyle or crave like
And it
the
goes
unhealthy
back.
stuff.
Yeah, and it's just you get deeper and deeper down that dark hole, and it's not a nice. I don't like being in that place. So quickly, I can turn it around so fast. There are still times that now I really don't, and I know when I'm doing it, but I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. If I've got that craving, I'll do it. I do get cravings,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and I do give in, but I do regret it. But I allow it. I'm more loving to myself. It's okay because I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to learn. Okay, what did I learn from
Exactly.
my experience? So I'm much more loving and nurturing to myself, because it is a form of self-love. When we eat high vibrational raw vegan foods, it's really a loving and nourishing the cells. I feel like I'm really every day now more mindful of what I'm consuming, how it's nourishing my body and mind and spirit. Because you did share about your spiritual side, that's been
Hmm.
enhanced through the raw food.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that? How you noticed, what sort of timeline of that did you notice, of the
I would
shift?
say right away I felt more spiritual. And especially if I did a 37-day juice cleanse in 2019. And then I felt more spiritual than I'd ever felt in my whole life. I felt so connected to God. And they say when you fast, you feel more connected.
Yeah.
So that's definitely been the case for me. When I did a 21-day watermelon cleanse, it was the
Oh
same.
yeah.
Not as much on my grape cleanse. I don't know why, but the grape cleanse that I did, that felt like the deepest cleanse I've ever done. So they said it just felt so cleansing. And it was actually, I think, like one of the most difficult ones I've done. It was easy in the beginning because you're just eating different kinds of grapes. But yeah, overall, I feel so much more spiritual. I'm just drawn to more spiritual books. Like Conversations with God is my favorite book. I love watching near-death experience stories about like the afterlife and things that happen and that sort of thing. I'm just feel more spiritual and compassionate, and just the content I consume. Like I love Ralph Smart and just more spiritual
Yeah.
content and stuff like that too. So it's different. Like before I was raw, my favorite content to consume would be like Real Housewives of Orange County or something, you know, like, oh my God, look at her. Can you believe this happened to him? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, just, and more of like a gossip vibe, I guess,
Yeah,
and
I was just
more
gonna
just,
say drama,
and
gossip.
like I said, like we had an HGTV series, right? In 2009, we got one in Toronto where each room was an episode. We bought a house, our first house, and renovated a room. And you can watch the episodes and see, like, I was a different person, like before I was raw, like completely different person. I'm almost embarrassed to like promote it to like where people see
Oh,
because I was so different.
do it,
But
do
it
it.
shows like you are what you eat, right? It's like
Yeah,
it was so yeah, I'm definitely more spiritual. And that's one of my favorite reasons for doing the lifestyle. And over the years, if I had had something, like I said, like an animal product or a cooked food or something, I feel like the spiritual connection gets just cut off. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, like, you know, I don't know. I wish I could eat whatever I want, like have coffee, have this, and still feel like this, but I don't.
no,
So I
no,
put like feeling good above everything. I just want to like feel my best, you know, and I have to. I have a busy life with my kids and my channel and my work and everything. So I have to like take care of myself in a way where I have maximum energy and feel my best.
yeah. So important. It overrides in all parts of your life. Like I say, with that spiritual connection, you feel more loving and connecting to others. You're not as judgmental. You're not as, your anger, you're more, like you say, you're more balanced. That was a big shift for myself, that new
Yeah.
identity that you receive. It's a really, yeah, it's a compassionate lifestyle. Like you say, you got connected to the ethical side. But yeah, your
Yeah.
number one priority is you. And then when you're feeling your best, it overlaps to others and to all your
Hmm.
work, and you find your passion. And look what you now,
Yeah.
you've found something you're so passionate about. Do you
Yeah.
feel that will you love real estate? Will you always be doing real
No.
estate?
You know what? The old me loved real estate. And when I was in high school, I used to like job shadow real estate agents and say like, because I always loved nice homes. I always loved like properties and homes.
Yeah.
And so I always thought like, this is what I'm going to do for sure. And I thought it would like suit my lifestyle. I always wanted like a nice life. And so after university, I went into that. I went to university for business, and then I went, which I wouldn't do now, but it was like a lifetime ago, right?
Yeah.
And then I went into real estate right after university. So I've been on my own as a real estate agent since like 2009, 2010. And now I just do like whatever business comes to me through referrals of people I know. I don't like, I'm not out there like hustling. My main priority and love and passion is my channel. So that's why I do that.
Oh wow. And tell us more about what's the vision for your channel. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where's this going for you?
Well, hopefully the channel gets a lot bigger in 5 years. That's
Not
what I want.
hopefully, it's going to
It
be.
will,
Look at
yeah.
it now.
It's growing really good now. And I just love all the messages and comments I see where people are like, this changed my life. This has made
Yeah,
me eat more raw. I'm feeling so much better. I healed this. I'm just like, I love your content. So I love all that. That's why I do it. And I'm just so happy to see it growing and to see people loving it.
yeah,
So I'd love the channel just to blow up and get really big over the next 5 years. That would be amazing.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's my number one passion. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to do a website or write an ebook. But then I just always create videos because that's just what I want to be doing. I'm like, oh, I know I should make a website or do a book or like do a course. But I'm just like, oh, I just want to be a YouTuber and make videos for people. I love making videos for people
Yeah.
on this topic that I'm so passionate about.
Follow your bliss. That's what you're doing. Just keep on doing
Yeah.
that. And it will,
Yeah.
you're in alignment now. You're in that path, and you're helping so many people. Like you say,
Yeah.
when you're helping them overcome so many struggles, and it's so much more than, I talk a lot about the weight loss, but it's so much more of healing of our traumas, our pain, like we're saying, with the connection
Yeah.
to self
And I
and
just want to say too,
help.
like it's not all food because like I went through like a such a I don't know if I'll talk about it on my channel ever, but it was such a traumatic experience in 2020. It's given me like such PTSD. And that's what made me realize it's not all food. Because the first few years of being raw, I thought, okay, I am just permanently happy for the rest of my life. Like I've got the highest vibe. Now that I found this diet, like nothing will like impact me. And then like life really hit me, like going through the separation, going through a trauma, all these things happening. Like then I realized, okay, like when there's deep trauma, it's like it doesn't matter how you eat. Yeah, like a cleanse can help you if you're like going through deep trauma, and eat like a juice cleanse, something can help you. But you have to go through these things. It's not all food. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
all food. And it's still normal, even if you're raw vegan, to experience all the emotions and to still get angry and still like we're human beings, right? We experience all these emotions.
And
It's
we
not
should.
just like
We're allowed.
bliss and butterflies, like this is
Yeah.
life too. It's not all
Yeah.
food. Like even if you're raw vegan, like you're gonna have some outbursts, you're gonna get angry, you're gonna experience like some low moments. So I don't want people to think it's all bliss and butterflies because it's not. But it is like 90% of the time or like a lot of the time. And it's just like gives you a raw advantage, right? Like I love Chris Kendall's name at the raw advantage because it just
Yeah.
gives you like eating raw gives you an advantage in life. You're
Edge.
just yeah, more
Yeah.
equipped to handle things that come your
Yeah.
way and just more energy and it's just better for me at least.
Yeah, what I've experienced is that it's allowed me not to use food to numb, escape, and distract. It's allowed me to really dig deep and heal what is trying to come up, because what we're doing is we're distracting ourselves. And I do find raw foods doesn't encourage my binge eating, doesn't create more addictions. It
A lot
actually
of people say that.
stops. Yeah, and that was the biggest, I would say, one of the biggest things for me, so that I was able to then deepen my practice, spiritual practice. And now I can actually look at what is bothering me, what's my pain, and allowing it to come up. I suppressed for such a long time, and it was not until the raw foods and going on these juice cleanses that I surrendered and allowed it to come up. And I do believe if it weren't for the raw foods, I wouldn't. I'd be continuing to distract and numb.
Wow.
There's only
Yeah.
so much you can do. That's why I'm really like, I know people say, oh, but you're putting this on the pet. It's because that's what happened for me. And no, you know what? In fact, it's harder for some people because you're not using, like you say, you're still going through, you're still
Yeah.
experiencing these challenges, but you do have that edge. You do have that. If you really listen, and I'm really into the meditation practice, if you listen, you've got all the answers within. Those will come up.
Yeah.
They will come up and you can surrender, you can let them go and alchemize them. You do channel them in better, more productive and balanced ways. I feel
Yeah.
if people can experience that, and it just gives them that power back.
Yeah.
So you will
I
always
never
be
had like
challenged.
with binge, I was never one I would say to have like problems with food before I went raw. I was never like, I would like stop eating when I was full. I never had overeating or binge eating or like any disorders around food at all. But
Yeah.
then actually, when I was raw, after going through the separation and those traumas and stuff, and like moving around the world, all these things happening, and not being happy with my life and like having like things hit me, that's when even I started overeating the raw foods, like in like 2020, I guess, and like 20 end of no 2020, I guess it would have been, yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
And I was like overeating even the raw foods. But then I realized like I needed to turn my life around. I was doing this because I wasn't happy and I was not dealing with like the traumas and things in a very positive way. And it wasn't until I found my passion, like working on the channel and stuff like that, and things that feed me in a way
Yes.
food doesn't, and
Yeah.
like gives me that energy. That's when I lost my desire to like overeat like I was before. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's just like I just can't speak enough about like passion and purpose and finding your passion and purpose. It'll just give you like a whole new life, I feel like.
Yeah, that like you hit the nail on the head there about nourishing. It nourishes your soul, nothing like what food does. Food keeps you stuck, suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if
Mm-hmm.
you're not using it, you can then have time and that energy and the clarity to find out what you love. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
where you found your passion. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask a bit more of your family then. So is
Yeah.
nobody? Did anybody around you, was even anyone personally that you knew or is now eating raw foods like you do?
No. Well, I have a close friend here in Toronto, Eli Martyr from the Free
Eli,
Melon
yeah,
Society.
yeah.
Yeah. So he lives about 20 minutes away and
Wow.
he's very strict with his diet.
Yes.
Even if we go to Raw Aura, the raw restaurant, like he brings his fruit because he's fruitarian. So
Yeah.
he's the only one though. I had a vegan friend and she's eats meat again, but she's still my friend. I'm not like, oh, I don't like you anymore or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm not judgy like that at all. But no one around me is raw or vegan, really. Not even really
Wow.
vegan. I don't have many vegan friends, but that's what like the online world is great. I have so many online, so I feel fulfilled like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've ever felt isolated or felt different?
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I guess a little bit through the divorce and everything, feeling more like alone and feeling like, oh, no one eats this way. Like sometimes I just, and so I did a couple years ago have like a couple weeks where I was like, I'm just gonna go off of everything and go out and have wine and like have like, but I just felt like crap. And I was like, just so it's a better life like this, even though most people don't eat this way. I
Yeah.
still feel amazing and I still love socializing. Like I'm going out for my birthday in 2 nights with like 25, 30 people, and I'm really excited, even though I don't eat like them and stuff,
But
I'll
you'll
bring
go
my
to
raw food.
restaurants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll choose the raw foods, and you don't drink alcohol, so do you just drink
No.
juices?
The last drink I had was when I told you when I went off things during the divorce in 2020. That was the last
Yeah.
time.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't make I used to drink every day in my 20s. I drank every day.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and
interesting,
it's
isn't
just
it?
like
Weddings.
it's
I did the same.
it's just it feels so toxic on my body. When I used to drink, like I'd wake up and my gut would just feel so
Oh,
gross. And then it's just like, I think if you keep going with that and you're 20, good thing I stopped, because if I was drinking every day in my 20s, 30s, 40s, like I think stuff happens. I think there's a huge connection with the gut and the brain. And I just want my memory, my brain to be like sharp and my body to be at its best. The only thing with my body that I want to change is before I was raw, when I was like 26 or something, I had a root canal and I want to get that taken
ah,
out because I think that
okay.
those are toxic. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I did have a root canal. Did I? I'm not sure if my needs to be removed. I don't know if I got a veneer over it. I'm not sure actually. I need to check that out. That's something as you progress, don't you start to look at what
Yeah.
else is toxic and
Yeah.
how it can affect your
So
health.
that's the only thing, and that's been in me for a long time. And I think who knows what that could be doing, right? Like I want to get that taken out and
Yeah.
replaced with an implant because from the research I've done, it's like it's technically a dead tooth that they've preserved to stay in your mouth, right? So they say anything dead, like bacteria is going to feed on.
Yeah.
And like I want it out of me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be good. And those were like they'll be all questioning at that now. It's like, oh my goodness, but that is that I feel the same. That's something I'm going to look into. In regards,
Yeah.
yeah, with your family, are they vegan though, or
No,
they?
they're not vegan. They're not.
Wow,
They eat a
yeah,
lot of vegan. And my ex-husband, even being back, or my husband, because we were split up. I'm used to saying that.
yeah,
But even being back together, like he eats a lot healthier being around me. So he'll drink more juices and fruits. And he's always like, oh, I'm so much healthier when I'm around you versus when I'm not.
yeah.
Because he travels, he's on the road, and he's a guy. I think it's harder sometimes for guys in the workplace and let's
The
go out to eat. And
stigma, yeah,
yeah, like, no, my kids aren't. They eat a lot of raw though. They do eat a lot of raw.
yeah.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah.
And then do you feel that naturally they'll just gravitate? I think you're the example. They'll gravitate towards
Yeah.
more good foods and if that relate they'll understand that way how it makes them feel eventually. They don't
Yeah.
normally when they're children, do they? And obviously they've got the school and the most is anyone there like the school's not even I bet a lot that aren't even vegan at the school.
No, I
Especially
don't. I think there's maybe some kids that are, but not really. No, not. And it's like it's no, they don't eat too great. Like on the playground, it's like like same as how it was in the 80s, I
chocolate
guess. Like
bars.
chips, suckers, chocolate bars. I'm just like, and what am I gonna do? I try not to intervene too much because I feel like if I'm pushy about it, it's just gonna make things worse. It's
Yeah,
still a balance. I'm trying to learn. I try not to be pushy about it, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh, I know like the fruits and veggies are so much healthier than like this processed food. So I
yeah,
like it's a really fine line. I do hope when they grow up, like they notice and see how much more energy I have, like, and
yeah.
get inspired and maybe watch the videos. And but they're on their own path too. If they don't want to follow the same path too, that's okay.
Yeah, all you can do is inspire, yeah, be the example and feed them what you can. And
Yeah.
when they have packed lunch, do they eat the school dinners or the packed lunches? Do you
No,
provide?
I pack the lunches.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so if you're
Yeah.
having fruit, that's all
Yeah.
you're having.
Yeah. I pack the lunches.
Amazing. I know we flipped from like your health and then the YouTube channel. So your vision for the YouTube is just continue to do videos and share
Yeah.
inspirational
Just continue to
stories.
do
It's a hook
videos and share.
it's a hook for
Yeah.
people that are curious, even those that are just on the fence, or those that really want to dig deeper on this lifestyle. You're offering so much variety in a channel that
Yeah.
it really and your thumbnails are amazing. Your titles are catchy. It's really clickable
Thanks.
because I know it's not always easy to get to relay what you want because there's so much in a video that you want to
Yeah.
offer
Right.
and there's
I
so much
know.
to it and it's so invaluable. Where else do we get that from in one channel? And you're just on fire. I mean, it's nearly every day
Thanks.
you're doing a video.
Thanks. Yeah, it's growing really good right now.
Yeah.
The last couple of months I haven't been able to film as much because the kids have been off school and I've been trying to spend more time with them. And then my sitter was away and she got sick. So I've been spacing out my videos a little bit more lately because of that. But I always try and have a lot of videos done in case something like that happens or whatever. And I love filming videos. Like I said, tomorrow I'm filming 5 videos, which I told you before we got on our
Yeah.
call. And I love it. It's my great. That's like, I'm so happy when I'm filming videos. I love doing it so much. And I love working on the thumbnails and the whole process. And it's just so, it gives me so much pleasure and happiness.
What have you seen as the common theme with raw vegans who you've interviewed? What's the running theme of the most beneficial being raw vegan?
I would say the energy. Everybody says like,
Yeah,
they have energy. Usually they were able to heal like so many health problems. And a lot of times I noticed too that people didn't supplement. And then after they changed their views after years and years on it, and then they thought, and then they decided they did need supplements. That seems to be a common thing. That was common with me too. I didn't believe in
yeah,
supplements when I first started 2016, 17, 18. I didn't supplement. And 2019, I was deficient in some things. I was deficient in B12.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so now I believe in supplements. And I just think check your blood work at the minimum, right? And see.
yeah,
So that too, I would just say like the high vibe. Most people just see they feel like this high vibe and they change their life for the positive. And yeah, yeah. And I think I notice for most people it works when they're eating a lot of calories. But then there's some people like Eli, he's fruitarian. He doesn't eat as many calories, but if you meet him in person, like he looks really good, has the best aura I've ever seen. And it really works for him. Like fruitarian's not for me, but it works for him.
yeah. But it just shows you like you the benefits you're receiving. Look at your skin, and you're nearly 40. You're
Yeah.
like I say, and that energy, if it's when
Yeah.
you continue to
Yeah.
do that. You may experiment, you may
Yeah.
even go into that because that's something I'm still like, do I want to be whole fruit? I'm not there yet, and I don't know if I will
Yeah.
be, but I experiment from time to time. But you're still reaping the benefits, the
Yeah.
rewards, and there are so many different varieties of raw vegans. And do you calorie count? Do you macro count? Do you do
No,
any
I
of
don't
those
at
tracking?
all. I don't at all. But I did do it a few times for a couple videos because people were asking me. So for a couple what I eat in a day videos I did, and I think they were like 2,700 when I calculated. Sometimes when I calculate it, it seems to be between 2,500 and 3,000, sometimes a little bit more. So I do eat a lot of
Amazing.
calories.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, just shows you there's no restriction here. Like, yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's why it works because I notice if there are days which is very rare, but if I ever have felt like more tired and weak, it's because I'm not eating enough. Like I need more calories. So even when I interviewed Nate and Lissa, they both said like a lot of people come to them and they're like, "Oh, it's not working." But then if they like, up the calories, eat a lot of calories, then a lot of times then it starts working. So it
yeah.
works for me by eating a lot.
Yeah, that just shows you like I don't track, but if you are feeling like you say you're feeling a bit off, just track that just for that purpose. Just if
Yeah.
you're eating enough, more than not under eating, trying to lose
Yeah.
weight. And it's a
True.
byproduct of feeling so good going raw.
Yeah.
You keep it a stable weight. I know you said you actually put weight on, but you're so slim
Yeah.
still, but you're
Thanks.
healthy being like healthy and slim and keeping the slim all year round. So,
Yeah, yeah. I weigh about I think 125 right now. So usually raw I've weighed about 125. And I think before raw I was like 115 to 120.
yeah,
So I'm a bit more. I did have a second baby too, so maybe that's part of it, like 3 years ago. But yeah, I hold a nice weight. I'm happy with my weight. I do need to work out more. When I first went raw, before I had my second baby, like right away, my stomach went so flat. My body was like, I was like, wow, I love my like having that super flat stomach and lower
yeah,
stomach. It was like perfect. I was like, wow, I don't need to work out. I stopped like working out, whereas
yeah.
before I'd always worked out. But now I feel like it's still important to get the exercise, strengthen your body. So I just got back into working out too.
Yeah, that, and you'll find your results are really fast from working. Like, I'll have a few weeks off sometimes to get back into it. My strength comes back really quickly, my endurance, and even the tightness, of my body. I notice a big,
Yeah.
very quickly. So especially as you're getting
Wow.
older, because as you get older, obviously we naturally deteriorate, our muscles
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
weaken. And I've noticed the recovery rate as well is super fast.
Wow.
Yeah, that was another reason for me. It was like, wow, there is so many benefits, especially
Yeah.
if you want to keep lean, be lean. And there's this stigma with a lot of the raw vegans that we look weak, and that's what I'm proving, that we don't have to be. We can be
Yeah.
slim, but we can be strong. Showing within 6 months on and off, not real consistent, but twice a week practicing pull-ups, and I do 10 full pull-ups without assistance. And I'm like, well, I never could even do one. A few months
Yeah, wow.
through that. So I was just like, wow, this is a game changer. So for me, and there's that the myth of the protein. We're squishing a lot of these misconceptions, and it's great to see
Yeah. And
others.
you can build muscle raw. Like I just interviewed Shane and he's been heavy at the gym the last year. If you see him like before, like a year or two ago versus now, like his muscles are huge. He looks amazing,
I know. Yeah.
you
And look at
know?
Eli, lean,
Yeah.
slim, but he's got lean muscle mass. And
And
Shane,
the
yeah,
moves he does.
I don't know
Yeah.
anyone I think Shane's really dominating in that
Yeah.
space with regards to muscle building. I think
He looks great. Yeah, we
yeah,
did a video on how to build muscle mass. It was really good. And yeah, he looks great. And we talked about how a lot of people say, like, oh, you're not really raw. Look at you. Because a lot of people online say, no other raw
yeah,
vegans look like this, Shane. You're lying to everybody. You're not raw. Or like, or you're taking steroids, but he's not. He looks good.
yeah, yeah. And it's anti-aging because look at yourself.
Yeah.
For
He's
me, like,
50.
yeah, it's
He's almost
he's
50.
almost,
He's
isn't he?
49.
Yeah,
49. He's almost 50. He looks like amazing.
it's incredible. Yeah, so
Yeah, same with Marcus Rothkrantz. Look at Marcus Rothkrantz. Like he just turned 60 and he looks so good. If you look at him, like it's like,
yeah.
whoa, you're like, wow. Like
Well,
I
this
hope
is
I look
right.
like that when I'm 60, you
Yeah,
know?
it's inspiring. It's giving us, like I say, that knowledge and showing what we're capable of, and that's why I want to touch on the calendar that we're going to be creating. Well, it's
Yeah.
already created, and we're launching
Yay.
that in October, but we'll do pre-sales starting this week. So for those that don't know, we're doing a Rawlicious Babes raw vegan calendar just to give inspiration and also to share who's in this space, what we're doing in this space and how we can help and inspire others. And you're part of it, Gillian. I'm so grateful
Yay.
you're
I'm
part of
excited.
it.
Thanks for putting that together. I think it's a great idea. It looks great.
I know. Well, I don't know how it's going to be, like how it's going to be perceived, but or received. I feel it's a good test to see. And
Yeah.
I do love calendars because I'm an organized. I like digital, but I also really like hard copies.
Me
And if
too.
that keeps me inspired, because I was thinking, some may only want that for the male perspective, seeing these
Yeah.
malicious babes. But actually, it's for the females as well. It's empowerment. It's showing you that these incredible souls are really embracing this lifestyle and the radiance
Yeah.
that's coming from it. And we want to, keep encouraging and sharing why we're on this lifestyle and helping others now. It's
Yeah.
helping others. So it gives that opportunity for everyone in the calendar to show what we're doing. So
Yeah. 100%. I love it. And it's so fun to do creative stuff like that too.
yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, and it was whatever Rawlicious means to you. So to end on that, then with
Yeah.
Rawlicious, what is Rawlicious to you, and what does that bring up when you?
Yeah. Well, I think the quote I put for the calendar was what you eat today walks and talks tomorrow. I
Yeah,
love that quote. I think it's so true. Like if I were to eat like 15 avocados today, you would see a different me tomorrow. Or if I were to drink a couple bottles of wine today, I would be a different person tomorrow. So I think it's so true what you put in you. And just going raw is literally just gives me so much life, like vitality, energy. I feel absolutely amazing. It's why I started this channel. I feel incredible. So it's just that's
yeah,
what it is to me. And it is the energy. Like that's my favorite part of this lifestyle. I have so much energy consistently. I'm not crashing through the day.
yeah,
And I feel incredible. And I just think everybody has to do what makes them feel their best. You know what I mean? Just do what makes you feel good. And if you first try raw or getting healthier and it doesn't feel good, like maybe that is because you still are in a bit of detox and have to like just hang in there for like
yeah.
3 weeks or a month or give it like 60 days and see how you feel then before just giving up. Cause sometimes it can take time. Not everybody's not like me where you just felt so good instantly. Sometimes it does take time.
Yeah. But like you said, you started cutting things before, like alcohol and the
Yeah.
coffee. So
Yeah.
if you're doing it all at once, it can be quite intense. But
Yeah.
when you've already started that path, didn't you? You was already experimenting and probably getting better at your eating. So already going
Yeah.
towards that. But yeah, not everybody does. I know when it comes into it, I've got a client of mine, she's like, why am I not feeling as good as you? And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I didn't actually feel that good initially. I still had mine was more mental, addictions and cravings that I
Yeah.
was overcoming. But
Yeah.
you just ooze that energy. I love that
Thanks. Yeah. I
you're
feel so
offering.
good. My daughter's just, do you want to say hi, May? She's
Hey.
just going to her friends.
Oh yeah, it's the morning, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the morning
Sure.
here, and her friend just lives right beside us in the condo right beside us. So her mom's right at the door to pick her up. Bye, babe. Love
Oh,
you.
perfect.
She's just because I'm filming today and tomorrow, and then I'm gonna take the rest of the summer off with them. So she's going with her
Oh,
for the day.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So if you could give any takeaways, what
Yeah.
would it be on being curious on this lifestyle or like just starting this lifestyle for those that are watching?
Yeah, just starting. Well, I would say, especially when the fruits, like when things are in season, like the summer months, it's a great time to add in more like fruits and vegetables. Go to the farmers markets. Everything tastes so good. Or in the fall, like depending where you live, go apple picking. The grapes come into season. I would say definitely like get some fruits and things that are like in season. They taste better and might get you more into things. And do what works for you. For everybody transitioning to this lifestyle, a different way of transitioning suits them more. So some people it's best to go cold turkey. Some
Yeah.
people it's best to start with a juice cleanse or a fruit cleanse, or sometimes maybe it's best to do like raw till 4. I think that's great and super achievable for like a lot of people. You eat raw all
Right.
day and then have a cooked dinner. And I would say like definitely like commit to giving it, like I said before, like 3 weeks or 30 days or even like 60 days, because it can actually take a while to get like those habits out of us and those
Yeah.
cravings out of us. So I would say like give it a solid 60 days. Like 60 days is not that long when you think about it in the terms of your whole life. And the other foods like you're used to eating, they're not going anywhere. They're still going to be there after. If you want to go back to them, you know what I mean? And maybe in those 60 days, like don't go out socialize at events where like you'd be tempted to have those things, and just make yourself a priority in those 60 days. Even if you have to go off social media too, to just like get a positive break and focus on yourself and like see what you can achieve in the 60 days by focusing on you and like changing your habits. And I did that. I went off social media last May for 30 days. It was like the best month ever. It was so positive. I made a commitment. I'm only going to focus on like positive things. And it was amazing. Even the music I listened to was positive. And so I would definitely recommend that. Maybe take like 60 days off social media or 30 days and like get super healthy and like see if it can change your life, because I think it can.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I call it the dopamine fast. Get away from
Yeah.
any of the stimulus, get back to being here right now. Your whole
Yeah.
perspective changes, and then you can really focus on what's important. Amazing
Yeah.
tips there. Amazing takeaway. So many nuggets.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch
Good.
it.
Good.
If you're watching it, I'm going to take out lots of these nuggets and share them individually as well. It's what something else
Good.
I want to create.
Yeah.
And is there any opportunity of you going more on? Well, you're on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to look at TikTok in the future, or is this
No,
your
I'm not on
focus?
TikTok. I just like YouTube. I know I have to get
Yeah,
into creating reels. I don't even know how to create a reel for Instagram, but I have to learn to do that because Instagram is just becoming all videos. I
I
like
know.
pictures, but it's like all videos.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't use my Facebook really anymore because I noticed after my social media detox, it was too much to do Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram, and YouTube because I like to really engage with people on my YouTube channel too in the comments and stuff. So I'm just pretty much like Instagram and YouTube. I do love posting stories on Instagram. So I post a lot of stories on Instagram. So I like share a lot of my life there. But otherwise, like, Instagram stories and YouTube videos, that's where you can find me.
yeah. You dominate in that, and that's it. You've kept
Thanks.
it focused, and
Yeah.
this is your space, and where where we can off. So YouTube and Instagram, predominantly YouTube. So
For
that's what.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pop that up on there as well and put your information in
Thanks.
the description box. So
Yeah.
thank you, Jillian. Thank you for coming on. What an incredible, it's gone so fast. Really,
Yeah.
really grateful for you being here and sharing all your wisdom and help and how you're helping other people as well overcome so much. What a journey. What a journey you've been through.
Yeah.
And you're just so resilient. And I love how you keep
Thank
picking
you.
yourself back up and dusting yourself off. You've shared a lot of, your vulnerability. And this is what makes you so relatable, Gillian. And that
Thanks.
really caught me when you was going through some difficult times, which we all do. But when you're sharing it on social media, it's scary. It's
Mm-hmm.
really scary, but
True.
it
Yeah.
makes you relatable, and you can really feel what you're going through, and that how you're overcoming it, and you've overcome so much. Having children, having
Yeah.
growing this channel, and being raw, but that's all helped with your whole life, well, the whole journey, which is
Yeah.
very inspiring. So thank you. I really appreciate what
Yeah.
you do. So
Thank you. Thanks for having me. You're such good energy, and I'm so excited to interview you. So you're awesome.
thank you. So let's say be, feel, and
See?
stay
Say
Rawlicious.
Rawlicious. You're
Thank you,
awesome. Thanks so
Jillian.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.